Or they only care about who turned it in first. Whoever turned it in first must be the victim, and the other person must not have turned it in because they're the predator. But then you get to see how the police at every fucking juncture did everything that they could to look away, to make excuses, to do nothing about my predators. I tried to turn in my predators, but it didn't work. It didn't work because unlike that girl that you have a big old crush on, or that guy who's got a big fat meth sack, there are things that are more important to you than human life, or decency, or your own fucking dignity. How many cops and judges want to be a target of the Me Too movement? Meanwhile, how many cops and judges help female predators to get away? How many cops and judges help rotten cops to get away? Yeah, I definitely live in the real world. So I called Jetter. Fucking English, please. I called Jared, and he's got to go to work. He was going to ask his mom, but she's got to go pay some bills. They have to be paid. And her car is busted. Poverty. Now I could meet her somewhere and we could do it that way. And she's a female, so people are more likely to listen. Obviously, I don't hate these people. When it comes to a man being stalked, you tell him either he deserved it, or if he tries to turn it in, you pretend that he made it up. But then here's the problem with you doing that. When you tell me that I deserved it, and then you tell other people that I'm making it up, we got a little bit of an issue there. Because you admitted to doing it, but then you wanted to lie about it after the fact. Now, how many people wanted to do that? Wanted to tell me one thing and then say another thing afterwards when they didn't keep their word. Oh, I never said promise. I've got you recorded typing and saying the word promise, so telling me you never said promise doesn't work. When I say I never threatened to kill anybody, that's not entirely true, is it? When I said that it took over a year and a half for me to threaten anybody back, after a year and a half of having my actual life threatened, being actually physically assaulted in person, being actually socially isolated from my friends and loved ones, I'm the predator for speaking out, apparently. Now, Jared's got to go to work, and that's understandable. He also works until close. He's going to try to help me to turn it in tomorrow, but you see how officers treat me. If I have to make it wait a day, you might notice that Aaron Stegeman, I went to him right after the fucking assault. I was looking for somebody to help me to turn it in so I didn't have to go in there alone and get blown off again. Unfortunately, I had to go to a man who is a very good used car salesman. I had to go to a preacher in Chapel, Nebraska, who it turns out is not an actual preacher. He was faking that too. So he was faking his belief in God and faking being a preacher at a local church. Yeah, that's not a man I'm gonna trust. I went to him because that's who I was told to go to. Oh, you need to go to the churches. Have you tried Mr. Wright? Have you tried Rod Wright? The Can Energy guy? That's how I knew him growing up. Jennifer Wright's idiot dad. He bought her a 1964 Ford Mustang while she was still in high school. Every guy in high school was jealous of her car. Holy shit, that's a 1964 Ford Mustang. That's the very beginning of a legacy. She bragged about intentionally getting into accidents and trying to fuck up that car so she could get a new one. She wanted new pretty things. She's now the postmaster in Chapel, Nebraska. And she got to do what? She got to help her dad and Scott DaCosta to get away with their crimes by taking away my P.O. box. Taking away my P.O. box while I was locked up, and I couldn't get one back when I got out. What shit. And then those of you who want to throw it in my face that you gave me money or sent me money, did you use your fucking words where it fucking mattered? No, you didn't. I'm hoping that maybe the Scudders will be able to come up with something faster than having to wait till tomorrow. And tomorrow is just a maybe. That's a long time when you have to fear nut jobs who keep pulling up on you. Fuck, this country is fucking gross. Oh yeah, and I'm running out of gas real quick. Let's hope I can get to another location without somebody playing victim because I told the truth or showed the truth. See, here's the thing that people don't like about my recordings. It's no longer their word versus mine. They can no longer play on the bias of, oh, well, I'm just a girl. Poor little old me. Well, that lady sure raped me with her fucking eyes. That was awful pleasant. That's right. If you pretend that I raped you with my eyes, then I will be harmed. Oh, well, we have to follow what a woman thinks, regardless of what the evidence actually shows. Women could never possibly be predators, regardless of the evidence otherwise. Insanity. Anyway, I did see Faith walk by, but that was before the incident. Otherwise, I would have done the target of opportunity thing and said, hey, Faith, is there any way I can get you to talk to the cops for a few minutes? Or at least be here with me while I got to talk to them? If they blow me off, we got to record the fact that they blew me off instead of taking it seriously. Now, last night I did hear some shouting and some yelling out of the younger crowd, but it wasn't any of the usual vehicles. The yellow car that looks like Bumblebee from Transformers, and the red Jeep Sport, Jeep Cherokee Sport. That's the usual crowd of those ones. There's also I want to say a Toyota 4Runner that runs around with them, and there's actually like 3 or 4 Toyota vehicles that look nearly the same. Oh, alright. Should I go to Tillamook Sporting Goods or should I go to the grocery store? I'm fucking hungry. I'm going to the grocery store. Here's the problem with the mail being gang stalked. Nobody fucking cares. The cops don't care. There's always something more important with our friends. And of course, many of them do have valid excuses in that they're impoverished, but only to a degree. You can still make time. It just might take a little bit more. Also, you shouldn't have to choose between paying your bills and telling the truth. Problem solving. All right. Anyway, I can't expect people to drop what they're doing whenever I want something. You're right about that. A lot of these people, if I had been a woman, though, they would have. Even if she was just playing victim or pretending to be a victim. Alright, we got more of these Discord assholes getting a hold of me. Chances are they're probably from Colorado Donkey Watch or one of these gamer sites. Like, what's that little bitch's name? Fuck it. The one who pretends to be ultra Christian but hates gay people and then pretends like he doesn't hate gay people and all that. Yeehaw. Holy shit, I'd use her on this channel. You see how easy that was? I can do that in real life. No, I can't. In real life, when a predator decides they're going to do something, they're going to be a jerk to you, they're going to bully you, there is no hide user on this channel button. Yeah. Alright, so let's make sure that... See, here's the thing about owning property. Property owners have rights. That's why homeless people have no rights. We have to depend on the bias of others. We have to hope that the business owner doesn't hate hobos. We gotta hope that he doesn't just categorize all hobos in the same category. Just like BLM wants to categorize all white people in one category. And Me Too wants to put all men in one category. Really, you gonna blame white people while white people stand in front of you while you have a march? Just in case the police decide to start shooting at you with tear gas?
There's a ton of wine that someone purchased and they're still haven't picked it up.
Here's something that I propose. I propose that we have men's only gyms for men's safety. I propose that we have men's only grocery marts for our safety. I propose that we have safe places for men to go and do their shopping without being treated like they're rapey. I propose that we have safe places for men to go where they don't have to worry about a woman playing victim and trying to get YouTube likes or Facebook likes or tweets. There's a woman named Chloe Roma, and she wants to talk about men's rights, and she wants to make the audacious claim that now that gyms are making it against their rules for you to take a recording device and actually record it, she says that that is keeping men safe. No, it's not. Those women who got busted playing victim, They got busted playing victim because it was recorded. Why would you take that away? Taking away, that is the only person that benefits, regardless of the gender of the predator. Now, at the same note, I'm not pretending that only men should have men's only gyms. If women are afraid, they should be allowed to have a women's only gym. And there's lots of women's only gyms. But we're told that we can't have men's only gyms because it's sexist, it's misogynistic. Another thing is, like, since I got here to Tillamook, I've had to deal with a lot of people that are just bad people. But I'm not going to pretend that the nice ones here don't exist. And yes, I'm against the KKK, but there are people here who have been nice to me that are part of the KKK. Didn't want to spread a bunch of racism and hatred. That doesn't mean that I support the KKK. Just like with the BLM thing, there are plenty of black folks who are nice to me, who don't treat me like I'm a predator because I'm white, like I'm trying to have them arrested because I'm white, like I must be insulted because they exist. There are black people here in this town who talk to me. There are Hispanic people in this town who talk to me. So, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's your group that's the stupid part. You can be human to me on a one-on-one basis, but you get on the internet and all you see is white and male. When it comes to the grocery store, I have to be afraid that if I'm walking across the parking lot, and I'm not talking about this one here or anyone in specific, because it's not the grocery store's fault. Bias is not chosen by the business. It may be held by business owners. But the thing is, like yesterday at the Safeway, as I was walking across the street, there were 4 different women who craned their necks as I walked by, almost broke their necks to stare at me. But I have to be afraid to look up. Well, if I was to look up, how did I know they were staring at me? One woman, she passed me within 5 feet, with her head doing this the whole way. Now, if I had looked up for one moment and made eye contact, how many times has that been construed as a man is rapey? Especially if he's unattractive. I don't want to be here. If I had my choice, I'd live in a cave in the woods and never see any of you ever again. But I still got to eat and I'm still disabled and I can't turn that off.
I like them. I'm gonna make.
When it comes down to it, I do want women to feel
Yeah,
safe.
and it's already got.
But men need to be able to feel safe too. We need to be able to feel safe going to the grocery store without getting gawked at like the perverts.
I think it's time to tell me after that.
Yes, because she was supposed to get it for her.
A lot of people, let's take a look at the situation with Zade Atkinson, Sammy Leon Lawrence IV. These are both black men in Boulder, Colorado. Thank you, ma'am. Both black men in Boulder, Colorado. Out of the 7 people that Officer Waylon Lolotai assaulted that were caught on camera, these were the only 2 that were black, and these were also the only 2 that were in houses. Waylon Lolotai was not selective about his victims based on gender. He was just as fine with assaulting Kelly Clark and just as fine with assaulting Michelle Rodriguez. When I was walking across the street at Safeway yesterday, do you stop to consider that that's fucking creepy to stare at me that way? I don't know any of these women that were staring at me. But then, if a woman wants to pretend that a man is rapey because he glanced at her for half a second, because she's fucking gawking at him, Well, it's her word versus a man's, and a man is assumed to be guilty. If he's homeless, he's assumed to be guilty. If he's homeless, he must be a junkie, he must be a thief, he must be a rapist, he must be a child molester, he must be a murderer, he must be a woman beater. I'm angry with you because you're projecting your bullshit onto me. When you gaslight me until I have a mental fucking breakdown, and then you pretend like I'm a bad person for having a mental breakdown. That doesn't make me a bad person. It makes you a bad person. Meanwhile, inevitably, somebody's going to tell me, well, why don't you turn in the police to the sheriff's department? After the way that they harmed that 14-year-old girl in that very same Safeway parking lot, I don't fucking think so. The way the sheriff's department and police department representatives with badges from those respective government agencies, the way they treated me, the way that they treated that 14-year-old girl, and the way they treated those other two friends of hers who were also trying to help turn it in. Yeah. Who wouldn't be afraid to go to those guys to turn those guys in? These men are so manly that they assaulted a 14-year-old girl and conspired with her predators and with the hospital to have her locked up and given a mentally ill tag and injected with drugs. They conspired with her predators right next to my vehicle, Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Right next to my vehicle. Conspired with that little girl's predators to have her locked up. You goddamn right. I do fight for the rights of victims, not just men, not just women, not just blacks, not just whites. And if you notice, my satire knows no bounds. If you want to be sexist towards me, I've got no problems changing one word and making it about you. I got no problems with acting like you back. When you want special treatment, well, you're not gonna fucking get it. You're not fucking special just because you have a vagina. You're not fucking special just because you are gay. You are not fucking special just because you're black. You are not more special than heterosexuals, more special than whites, or more special than males. We're all human beings. Some of us are broke. Poverty had a lot more to do with people being able to help me than anything else. Almost. Poverty doesn't stop you from speaking up. But it may cut you off from the resources. See, one of the things that's real commonplace with border cops, if a homeless person does try to make a police report, they tell him he's got to get on the internet and he can do that over at the library. If only you understood how realistic that really isn't. Especially when you've been made a target over slander. That's a good place to get yourself threatened, harassed, intimidated, or even outright killed. A library is the easiest place to get kicked out of. It's easier to get kicked out of the library than it is to get kicked out of Fred Meyer's or Starbucks or McDonald's. Fuck it. I'm not a human. I don't own property. We're all stuck on this rock together, except most of us are born onto a rock that is already owned by other people, according to who? According to who? You want to call it redistribution of wealth. I call it giving back what's been fucking taken. We all live on this fucking planet. Every one of us deserves a spot of our own where we can be safe. Where we can have those rights that you pieces of shit take for granted every day. Those of you with families who care, you take that for granted every day. And then you victimize those without, as if they chose it. As if I chose for my parents to be cocaine addicts. You're a special kind of stupid. I was going to turn this off. However, I'm going over to Tillamook Sporting Goods. I didn't get anything to eat like I was gonna. Instead, I got some coffee. See, here's the thing, is that if I turn it in right away like I'm instructed, and I do so without a friend or family there. Let's see, this one says Patrick Gordon Smith. The little picture on the side denotes that he is probably a gamer. More than likely, the next comment that pops up is going to be something about joining his Discord. We'll see. Maybe this is just a viewer, but the ones who come at me from Discord usually do so 3, 4, 5 at a time. 12:41 it says, and it's 12:54, so they typed that a while ago. Well, we'll see if Patrick Gordon Smith, who typed blessings and joy friend with the peace symbol, types on later and does the whole Discord thing, or if this is somebody who's wanting to do some good. Blessings and joy friend doesn't help me out, though, just so you know. That's not useful to anybody. It is nice, though. Just because it's nice doesn't make it useful, and just because it's useful doesn't make it nice. I was nice about this and tried to go about it and approach it the right way, the legal way. As a male, I was denied. As a disabled person, I was denied. As a homeless person, I was denied. Once I was able to get into housing and get my disability money, that's when it was supposed to be that if these people kept it up, that I was supposed to be able to turn them in with a caseworker right away. But Tamara quit. And the caseworker that I was supposed to get after that was twiddling her thumbs and taking her dear sweet time. Meanwhile, I'd been told repeatedly, oh, there's no services here, no services here, no services here. There's no money for services here. Well, you've got $100,000 just to have an innocent man locked up on false charges, and you can do that 11 different times. You spent over $1 million in incarcerating a son of a bitch. Thank goodness not all of them were $100,000. That was just a 7-month stint where I was in multiple jails and 2 prisons on false charges that had to be dropped. All they were interested in was Scott DaCosta getting the opportunity, since he was the one who got to be in charge of all of that. He got to tell everybody in every one of those jails, every one of those officers, every one of those cops, he got to use them to harm me by slandering my name to every single one of them, just like he slandered my name in Chapel, Nebraska. Ran around telling people that I was schizophrenic. What do all of these people who want to pretend I'm schizophrenic have in common? They're all people who I had previously tried to turn in. They wanted to play that moniker in order to get people to look the other way by pretending that I'm some sort of a nut. Oh no! I didn't assault Sean. He's mentally ill and delusional and making it up. Like autism makes me too retarded to know what it feels like to get punched in the face. That's fucking crazy. Now I gotta go try to get something to warm up my vehicle because it's April and it snowed night before last. Big thick snow. Seasons are changing. Winter is becoming summer and summer is becoming winter. People here were complaining that... Alright, I'm just gonna stop here. Oh, you're good. There was 3 ladies that stepped out all at once. One of them ahead of me, one of them behind me, and one of them right next to my vehicle. So yeah, I should probably let them cross the street. And that only takes a moment. You notice it only takes a moment to stop. It only takes a moment to hold open a door for somebody. And if you're already there, even if it's a male behind you, you know, it does feel nice when somebody opens a door for you, but not when you expect it. There's a lot of women that I know who are completely expectant of men are supposed to hold the door open for them. And when a man doesn't hold the door open for them, they throw a fucking tantrum. Chivalry is dead. When's the last time you held a door open for a man? There's one of those trans folks that trans from being a man to, or from being a woman to being a man. And she became very, very suicidal over it because it's such a culture shock. She was talking about it was immediate. Like she had just had the change to become a he and went to walk in the door and the person in front of her, they. You see how complicated this gets? It's not that I'm trying to be a dick, it's that I don't know which one that she wants to specifically go by, or he, or them, or they. The proper description is very difficult. If somebody who is trans commits a crime against you, it's going to be difficult to turn them in if you're trying to be politically correct. If you say it's a man dressed like a woman, or a woman dressed like a man, then they're going to go and look for a trans person with that description that you gave them. If I want to change descriptives, if I want to say, oh, well, I identify the color red as blue now. So if you don't know that I personally choose to identify red as actually blue, if I see you running down the street with red shoes, you're wearing red shoes. If I tell an officer, oh, well, it was a person wearing red shoes, the officer's going to look for somebody wearing red shoes, not for somebody who identifies their shoes as being blue. That officer doesn't know how that person fucking identifies with colors. That officer doesn't care, because the common vernacular and the common understanding of the color red is that red is red. Identifying it as blue does not change it from being red. It doesn't change it from being red to me. It doesn't change it from being red to that officer. And somebody who expects me to follow by their, them, theys, their descriptives, especially when it has gotten so completely asinine. We are now being told that we're being sexist, misogynistic if we don't memorize 150 different labels that are required by the LGBT community. I don't know what a frog is. I don't care. Are you a person or not? You want to say, oh, we need to stop putting labels on people, but this is the label you have to talk to me about. Oh, and by the way, you're a them, they too, because I say so. No, I'm not a them, they. My name is Sean. I'm a Sean. I'm going to say that for you one more again. I am a Sean. I am a human being. I am a person, and I have a name. Ain't life grand? There's a lot of women that got a hold of me to tell me about all the narcissist types. And I go to their Facebook, and it's literally all about them. They don't speak up for anybody else. Oh, Sean, I understand. No, you don't understand. If you understood, you'd speak up. Or maybe it is that you do understand. Maybe it's that you understand too much. You understand that I have a penis, and therefore you're not allowed to help me. Your social expectations are different than mine. Women are taught to go for the jugular. They're taught to go for a man's social network, to go to his friends and his family when she doesn't get what she wants. I have no idea how many women that I know that were in relationships went to a man's mother to try to manipulate him if he didn't do what she wanted right when she wanted it. Or go to their own mother when he says, hey, I'm done with that. If you can't talk to me like I'm a person or listen to what I have to say or treat me as an equal, and you want to go try to get my mom involved in your twisted bullshit, I'm done with you. We're over, all right? I'm moving out. When she goes to her mom because she's pissed off because he left, and she wants her mom to help destroy his fucking life, there's a good possibility she'll help her. How does a man get treated when he tries to get help? Oh, dude, you just need to man up. You just need to get over it. When a man is stalked by a woman, she is somehow magically justified in doing it in her own mind because of some sick, twisted, racist bullshit and sexist bullshit that you want to shove at the rest of us. Technically, I'm part of the LGBT community. But the LGBT community likes to push this you heteros crap on me. Meanwhile, heterosexuals tend to push the you're gay. Oftentimes they use more derogatory terms. If a man doesn't give you what you want right when you want, it's okay for you to call him a child molester or a rapist or insinuate that he might to justify your crimes, your criminal activities. Well, I tried to get help stopping abuse for over a year before Natalie died. Natalie and her friends saw fit to stalk me and play victim. Meanwhile, you notice how many of those people are in trouble even now for child abuse. You get to see how people with a history of child abuse wanted to promise to help, but then they didn't. And why didn't they? They didn't want people to know that they'd been charged with child abuse. They were afraid of having their past dug up and thrown in their faces like they do so often. Which they am I talking about? I'm talking about all of you. All of you are selfish that way. It's just that our social bias tells us that a man is guilty and a woman is innocent. If cops are talking to a man, he must have done something wrong. If cops are talking to a woman, she must have been victimized, and so on and so forth. By the way, that old woman that was at the Safeway yesterday getting arrested, that was Officer Sadler who arrested her, and she was a female, and she was elderly, and well, the excuse that the people in the store said is that she was intoxicated. That's possible. It's not just men who drink. It's not just men who snort meth or snort coke or shoot up heroin. Natalie Bollinger was a heroin addict and a meth addict. Alicia Bollinger too. Christine Buhit as well. 2 of those 3 women are dead. Anyway, you know how we end these videos. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind. And for Patrick Gordon Smith, blessings and joy to you, my friend. You notice I said my friend instead of my friend. I don't know you. I don't know you from Adam. But I do recognize part of your name. That's my Aunt Donna's last name, Donna Gordon. Your middle name is my Aunt Donna's last name. My middle name is David, hence the name Sean David for my channel. Peace be with you. Good to be rid of you, because this channel isn't for your entertainment. Thank you for coming to visit, because if you don't look, you won't know, and you won't make right decisions. Stay out of trouble. Not that you always have the choice. Sometimes trouble follows you. Sometimes somebody spreads a rumor because they're angry they didn't get what they wanted, and it'll screw you. But you could try to stay out of trouble. Or don't get caught. If it is necessary for you to protect your loved ones, and you have to do something desperate, well, it's not illegal if you don't get caught, which is a sad fact. It's not illegal to commit a crime, it's illegal to get busted. You don't go to jail unless you get busted, or if people try to come together and pretend like because you have a penis and because you're homeless. What did they do? What did the cops do? What did the Bollingers do? What did these internet wingnuts do? They played on bias to prevent actual evidence from showing up in court, to prevent the actual victim from showing up in court. Natalie Bollinger was not a victim of stalking from me. I was a victim of gang stalking because she was embarrassed. You're allowed to destroy a man's life with slander when you're embarrassed, when you're angry. That's pitiful and disgusting. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's too. Just because the victim is a male doesn't mean they couldn't be victimized. And just because a female claims to be victimized doesn't mean it's true. We need to actually have evidence and actually look at it and actually allow both sides. But no, that is not what happened here. This is pure bias, pure unadulterated bias and hatred towards homeless and disabled men. But that doesn't mean that only men are victimized. Which brings me to the last part. Me Too movement was a great idea in concept. But in actuality, it's just like BLM or the KKK. They're hate groups trying to sell false narratives that get people killed, get innocent people killed, get other people sent away. Oh, you're not black enough for us to care about your rights. You're not woman enough for us to care about your rights. And this is what we get. No Victim Left Behind is a direct reflection of that. No victim left behind.